This is RJ Carbone, and you're listening to BD4.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down.
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the
RJ Barrett does it again from downtown.
He is just tearing the Orioles apart.
It's good. Randall gets the bounce, and he ties the game.
Houston ducks under. Got it. With 8 tenths left.
Up and ran, slam the other way for Aaron Judge.
Penetrates, creates, and showing some dexterity as well with the left hand.
Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Well, all right. Episode 302 of BD4 tonight. What's happening, everybody? I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Welcome to the show. Yes, welcome to BD4, episode 302 of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. I hope you're all having a great night or day whenever it is you are listening to this. As I am recording, it is a Saturday night. Just got home. Actually missed the Knick game tonight, so that's why we're not recapping that game. We're going to skip the Knick recap, and we'll just talk about the next game coming up on Monday. But this episode, don't worry, I got you. My buddy Greg from Yankee Crazy Podcast, who has been on the show, I want to say 2, maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 4 times, a couple times before. He joined us tonight, this afternoon, earlier, and we had a good discussion about the Yankees and their offseason. You know, there's not much going on, but we did talk about, you know, some of the storylines that have been following the organization this offseason. Correa. We talked about some of the holes they have on their team. We talked about some players who have been regressing and might need some bounce-back seasons, like Torres, Sanchez. We talked about LeMahieu. Really just, you know, went over the entire roster, what needs to be fixed, tweaked, and whatnot. And so it was a good conversation for about 40 minutes. And so that's what this episode is going to be. We're going to jump right into it. You know, no need to waste any more time. But a couple things, okay? If you have not yet subscribed to BD4, be sure to do that right now. You know, you can subscribe to this podcast on many platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and many other listening platforms. And you could also watch the podcast. Yeah, the video format of this podcast is on YouTube. So if you also want to watch the podcast and not just listen to it, go and subscribe on YouTube. So subscribe to it on all those platforms if you want. Download the podcast, share it with your friends on social media, and all that stuff. So yeah, welcome to BD4, episode 302. Again, just talking Yanks 2021-22 offseason with Greg from YCP. Again, this is like his 4th time on the show, so he's a friend of the show, and he's got his own show, Yankee Crazy Podcast, which is a fantastic show where he talks Yankees. So yeah, let's get to the let's head to break, and when we get back from our first plug, we're gonna do the NYY-NYK question of the day. And then we'll get to the conversation that Greg and I had for about 40 minutes where we talk Yankees. All right, let's head to our first break. Stay with us. Hey guys, so I've noticed that only a small portion of you who watch the podcast on YouTube are actually subscribed. So make sure the next time you go to BD4 on YouTube, if you feel like subscribing, do it. This way it'll help the channel grow, reach out to more audiences, more Knicks fans out there, more Yankees fans out there, MMA fans, sports fans in general. Just whenever you watch BD4 on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to help us grow. So if you guys want to follow me on social media, be sure to do so right now. I'm on Facebook at RJ Carbone, and I'm also on Instagram at rjcarbone. Once again, if you want to find me on Facebook, that is RJ Carbone. Instagram at Rob J. Carbone. So BD4 is on so many platforms to listen to. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud. You can listen to us on Spotify. You can find us on our sponsor, Anchor, and many other listening platforms as well, wherever you get your podcast. But we are also available to watch on YouTube. So if you want to watch us on YouTube, go subscribe there. But if you prefer to listen to us, again, many listening platforms. Just be sure to subscribe, download, give us a rating, a review, comment, share the podcast, and all that fun stuff. This is BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Oh, sorry about that. All right. Yeah. Once again, guys, episode 302 of BD4, Yanks 2021-22 off-season talk with Greg from YCP. That's coming up in just a moment. But real quick, once again, guys, be sure to subscribe, follow on social media, rjcarbone on Facebook and at rjcarbone on Instagram. Let's get to the NYY-NYK question of the day, and we'll get right to the conversation with Greg and I. So, last time out, our NYY-NYK question of the day for 301. It was a true or false. Patrick Ewing leads the Knicks all-time in offensive rebounds, and the answer to that question was false. So if you got that right, congratulations. This episode 302, our NYY-NYK question of the day, brought to you by Anchor. True or false? Babe Ruth hit his first career home run off the Yankees. Is that true or false? Babe Ruth hit his first career home run off the Yankees. So guys, let me know the answer on Facebook or Instagram. You can DM it to me anytime, or once I publish, those promo clips to this podcast episode, you can comment on there and let me know the answer too. And if you get it correct, you get a shout out. So thank you for tuning in. Whoops, we're on the wrong page. This is up 302 here. Only relevant if you're watching. But yeah, thank you for tuning into the podcast, guys. I appreciate it. Once again, let's get right to it. The conversation with Greg and I, we talked Yankees, talked about their offseason and what to expect coming up into the regular season as we approach pitchers and catchers in about a month. So hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I'll see you next time. Ciao. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this episode. But first, I also want to let you know I have another blog. The blog I'm writing for is on ultimatesportsnetworks.com, titled The Bomber Bacher Blog. If you want to go subscribe to this blog, you should do so using my promo code 6A2841ERJC. Using that, you'd get a discount, $7.99 a month, to get the best Knicks and Yankees opinionated content around. Once again, guys, the Bomber Bacher Blog on ultimatesportsnetworks.com using promo code 6A2841ERJC, $7.99 a month. A custom wall tapestry is a surefire way to uplift any room's aesthetics with a personal touch. This 100% polyester wall tapestry comes with hemmed edges for extra durability, while its mildew and water-resistant properties ensure years' worth of decorating bliss. The advanced tapestry printing techniques guarantee crisp detail even for the craziest of designs in any of the multiple size choices. You can select a size of 26 by 36 inches, 51 by 60, 68 by 80, and 88 by 104. These wall tapestries usually ship in 7 to 10 business days, and the price ranges from $24.99 to $69.99, all dependent on the size you select. The Bomber Bacher Blog wall tapestries come in orange, gray, and black. But most importantly, be sure when purchasing a wall tapestry for the Bomber Bacher Blog that you use promo code 6A2841ERJC. 6A2841ERJC. Just go to ultimatesportsnetworks.com and click on the Shop MVP tab, searching the Bomber Bocker blog. And there you have it. Hey, man. You hear me? See if you can hear me. You hear me? I can't hear you. Hold on. Something's wrong.
How about now?
Perfect.
Okay. Awesome.
How you doing, man? How you been?
Great. How about you?
Good, man. I like your shirt.
Oh, dude, these are awesome. I actually, I won this. I won a contest from Subway Tile Shirts. First of all, I love those shirts. I don't know if you've seen me post about them, but
Yeah,
they seriously, like, they're awesome shirts because I love this one because it's, a nod to the Yankees, obviously. And then I have the other one that they sent me for River Street Yankee Stadium address. And I got to say, they are the best shirts I've ever owned. They're so soft. I just love them.
that's so
Really, really cool company.
That's what is it called?
Subway Tile
Subway
shirts.
Tile. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
they've got, you would love too. They've got some MSG Knicks shirts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you should check them out.
I gotta check that out.
Really
Subway
cool.
Tile. Let me put that on my phone.
Yeah, Subway Tile shirts.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I guess they did this with an artist combination of some artist to obviously Bronx Bombers.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
really
You
awesome.
did that for Christmas? You bought it or something? Or you won it?
No,
You won it.
what's really funny is I got one for our producer Mario for his birthday.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I got it. And I'm like, oh, I really want one of these. I'm going to buy one. And then they were running this contest on Instagram that you had to identify, like every day they were giving away a t-shirt. And one morning, and I usually go on Instagram and there's usually always winners. And one morning I go on Instagram and I see it and I'm like, wow, no one's put in. And I actually knew what stop it was. So I put it in and I won the shirt and I'm like, oh, I need the Bronx Bomber shirt.
That's cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on first off.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it. How was your New Year? Good?
New year, new me, right?
Yeah.
We always kid about that one. That's funny. But yeah, good New Year. Pretty, just mellow here at my house. We had some fun. How about you?
Same old, nothing different.
Yeah.
Keep pushing. Yeah. Dude, I wish it was like there was more going on with baseball, but obviously the lockout. I heard a rumor. Is it over or no? Or is that just a rumor?
I did not hear anything about that.
Must have been because that was on Instagram. I don't know if it was true or not.
Oh, I'd be kind of shocked because the last I heard, they neither side has done anything supposedly. So
Okay.
I would be really shocked because that was only like a couple of days ago. But
Okay,
I don't know.
I don't think so then. That sucks. It's always so slow. I've had a feeling it was coming because like the last 4 or 5 years, the off seasons have been very slow. Nothing really happens until like later. So I had a feeling it was coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
Right.
a lot of people have said it's, the last one was 5 years ago and that one like came down to like really close. I can't even remember that one, but it's like you've had 5 years to work on this. Of course, it happens a month, you're coming down to almost a month till pitchers and catchers show up. It's just stupid on both parts.
I'm still excited. That's crazy that you just said that. It just hit me. We're about a month away from pitchers and catchers.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
I think it's February 14th. Yeah, because I didn't even know. I think my aunt texted me the other day saying pitchers and catchers February 14th. So it's like, what are we on this? What's today? The 8th, I think. No, we're on the 10th.
Today's the 8th. You're jumping ahead. Today's the 8th.
You sure about that?
Yeah. My phone says it right.
You're right. All right.
Don't scare me now, man. I'm taking it day by day here. Oh man. Yeah, but there's literally nothing. I mean, other than like Eric Chavez going to the Mets, that's really been it.
Yeah, the big news. Eric Chavez leaves the Yankees as the third assistant hitting coach.
Yeah, man, what the hell was that?
And it's a steal.
Yeah. Hey, man, whatever. But like even before the lockout, it felt like everybody else but us was doing things. Like the Mets inked Scherzer for 3 years. They went out and got Showalter, the largest investment in history for a manager in Mets history. Texas, they got Seager and I think the other shortstop, Simeon.
They got Simeon, yeah.
Yeah, and then Detroit took Javi Baez.
Yeah.
Houston, I think they brought back Verlander for a couple years. So that happened. Boston added some rotation depth. So it's like the Yankees, other than giving Gary another $8 million and bringing back Boone, they didn't do much yet. So
yeah, the rumor was that they were going to wait until after the CBA got settled to see. It's probably just an excuse by them, but they were saying they're going to wait and see if the luxury tax number goes up and if they're going to spend. I think that's, I don't know how truthful that is. I think they just don't want to spend.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think they're going to empty their wallets or no?
Man, I don't know. I have, earlier I've gone back and forth on this. I think like when we've talked, just like you, where it's like, talk of Correa and then, they're never going to get Correa. But now that all those people came off the board and it's basically the two top ones, Trevor Story and Correa, I think Yankees might come back with a big splash and get Correa. I didn't think that in like November, but now I'm kind of like thinking they're going to do it. They've kind of talked a lot about leading up to this, that, the cheating has nothing to do with anything and we're fine with everything he's done or whatever they said. But
man, it took me a few minutes, a few like weeks or months to get used to the fact that we might go after him. I'm all for it now. I'm kind of just, as much as it hurts to say, I don't care anymore. I just want to be evil. I want to win and I want everybody to hate us again. I'm just tired of not having enough. And if that's what it's going to come to, and it's a position we need, let's be honest, I'll do it. I don't know how, I don't know. It's tough because you have like the whole thing with Judge. He's obviously not very friendly with them, but I feel like those things we can get over if it happens. But it's hard because in the back of my mind, the Yankees aren't just a random team to the Astros. These two teams have history, so it's not like Correa is just, some guy who cheated. No, he cheated playing us in Game 7 of that championship series.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put it aside, but if I'm talking straight up winning, I don't care.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky situation because, he's so hated, and it's not like, steroids being cheating, which is a form of cheating, but their cheating was so much worse to me than the whole steroid era and all of that. So it's tough. But when you say who is the best shortstop out there right now that you need to go for, unfortunately, it's him.
Yeah,
and I would. There's a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, Yankees get Correa. I'm never watching Yankees again," and all that. And I wouldn't be super happy with him as shortstop, as the person that he is. But I'm not going to stop watching the Yankees. I'm eventually going to root for him, because what am I going to do? I'm not going to not watch,
Yeah, people say that a lot, but at the end of the day, you say this too a lot. You're a fan of the front of the jersey, not the back.
Yeah.
Right. If he's going to come in here and produce and try to help us win, then so be it. I don't know. We're far from that right now. We don't know if that's going to happen, but it's just, I felt like I had to break the ice with that because that's a controversial topic right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's a good one. I like that. I've heard the phrase root for the laundry or root for the uniform, but I like yours, root for the front of the jersey, not the back. That's a good one.
So we'll see there. But if you go around the infield, the outfield, go around the diamond with this team, we have some positions to fill other than shortstop too. First base is a question mark right now. Are we going Voit? Are we bringing back Rizzo? Are we going to try DJ there for a full season? What do you think is up there with first base?
Yeah, I was hopeful that it was going to be they were going to trade for Olsen and bring him in here. I don't know a ton about him, but from what I do, he's young, good defense, good bat. I would love to see him as long as the Yankees don't have to give up any really major pieces, although they probably have to. You got, obviously you got to give to get. I wouldn't mind Rizzo coming back. I really like Rizzo. I love his defense. Voit, I like Voit, but the defense isn't there. And I always have thought that first base is a really important position to have a great defensive first baseman there. DJ, I love DJ, but I like him at second, actually. I would love to see DJ just go back to second, take Glaber and make him just a bench utility guy. That's my thoughts on first base.
Yeah, I heard the Olsen thing, and I know Oakland, who was it? It might have been Rosenthal or no, the other dude said it. Jeff Passan said that Oakland plans on fire sailing. So if that's true, Olsen's definitely an option. He brings a lot of the things that we need, lefty power, and fills in that defensive need at first. The thing with me is you've already got a lot. He strikes out a lot. Now this season he did reduce that a bit, but he does have a track record of striking out a lot, and I don't. Me, I don't love that. He's a good player. I would prefer. I really do like Rizzo, but I don't know. We heard about Cashman. There's that rumor that Cashman didn't want to bring him back. I don't know how solid that rumor is, but I would prefer bringing him back. Or I don't know. I'm just, I just don't like those high strikeout guys. Olsen's not
true.
My preference.
Yeah, and Rizzo, a great thing about Rizzo being a great clubhouse veteran guy, and he puts the ball in play. When he came to the Yankees in July, he really brought that to the team. And I felt like it actually rubbed off on some guys, put the ball in play, see what happens. And, I know all people will argue analytics and say, oh, well, the strikeouts, look at the strikeouts, look at Tampa Bay. They, I think, led the league in strikeouts and how far they went. But I don't know, maybe I'm just a little more old school where I want to see the ball put in play. I want to, and it makes things happen, I think, especially come playoff time.
It's, man, I hate when people completely ignore the fact that putting the bat on the ball matters. You even have to be old school to know that, right? You just want to balance a little bit of a balance, have a good rotation, have power, but have that, hitting ability too. And it's if the Yankees, if they had a lights out starting rotation, then I'd be okay with the strikeouts and everything because the pitching would carry them. But you go to that side of the diamond and it's our rotation ain't that great either. There's a lot of questions there.
Yeah.
Cole, there's the question, how is he going to do without the substance?
Right.
How's Severino going to do on a 3-year layoff? And then everybody behind, you really don't know who's going to play what role.
Yeah, the rotation, there's so many question marks, and it's, it's every year for the past X amount of years we've been saying that. And, who do you have back there? You've got Tyone coming back from an injury. Herman is sticking around somewhere. let's see. We got rid of Heaney, thankfully. And then
I
who
remember
else?
that dude.
Oh, Nestor Cortez, and hopefully he takes another step forward. He was pretty solid last year and had his moments.
He was our best pitcher for a while.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's they talk about getting all these guys, position players, but there's no talk of pitching from what I've heard, and there was they were supposedly in on Verlander, which he's still a question mark whether he's going to come back and be dominant or even just solid. And then when the Mets get Scherzer for like way too much money, I know that the Yankees would not have spent on him. But besides that, I'm not even sure what other free agents are available pitching wise, and having to make trades looks like the only option to really try and solidify that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't even know who's available in the market, free agency wise. I have no idea. I don't think it's too much out there. They're gonna have to make a move. That's the thing. We do have some prospects coming up, but a lot of the times you never know with these guys. So my philosophy, I guess, is to trade them while you can. While their value is high and while they have some hype.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a team like the Yankees and you're trying to go for it right now. If we can make a trade, get some of these guys out and bring some talent in. For it.
Absolutely. Because a lot of the prospects who the Yankees have had have not really done that well. You look at, the other guy's Monty in the rotation. And Monty, you keep waiting for him to take that next step. He's not really doing it. He's up and down. I don't really trust him. But you had David Garcia. He took a big step back in the minors, even from what he reached last year. And then there is Heel, who has had his moments, pretty good. And then who's the other guy? Clark Schmidt, who I don't know. He has not impressed me too much. So it's like, you bring these guys up and it's great, these guys are going to be awesome, they're going to be amazing, but nobody's panning out. And I agree with you. Take these guys while they have value and trade them. And if they do hit in another city and do really well, you got to say, you got to take a chance. You can't just keep waiting for the next Andy Pettitte to come through your system.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude. Because we did the same thing with, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, Chance Adams and that Sheffield kid. There was so much hype between those two coming up and dominating. Yeah. But, I don't even know if they're in the league anymore. I mean, Sheffield is maybe with Seattle. Adams, last time I checked, he was with Kansas City with a 6 ERA or something like. I mean, so it's very tricky with those guys. So yeah, man, if you can get something for these prospects and also get Herman out of here. I'm done with that guy too. Include him in some deal, bring in another top number 2, maybe if we can. I don't know. Do it. But yeah, the rotation needs some help. The lineup needs some help. The bullpen even doesn't look that great to me. What do you think about the pen? I mean, I know there are a couple of guys. Maybe Holmes can do what he did again, but Green's okay, but there's not really any dominance from the pen either.
Right. A lot of up and down. I think Loisaga had his moments last year. I really like him. Chapman, I don't trust. I actually thought Chapman's last year. I thought he was becoming a free agent, but I forgot that he. I think they added another year or whatever it was. But
he's here for I think 2 more. Yeah.
Don't trust him, but I could see him being more like put him in like 7th, 8th, and maybe groom Loisaga to take over.
Yeah.
Or who's that other guy you mentioned that they traded for and did well?
Holmes.
Holmes, yeah, he was really good. I would maybe start the season, start spring training with a little competition for closer between Holmes and Loisaga and see who it is, because like I said, Chapman, he can't be closing anymore.
Oh, dude,
but maybe he can help these guys out in this last year and be like a 7th, 8th inning guy instead of the 9th. And then Chad Green, little too inconsistent last year. I still like him, but not really the high leverage guy he was. Maybe, who knows? I think he's still relatively young, so maybe he can make a little comeback. Besides that, trying to think, I can't even remember who else we have in that pen. But yeah, it needs work. Darren O'Day left, which he pitched about an inning and a third maybe last year. And then Zach Britton injured, right? He's done, and then he becomes a free agent after this year, so he's just lost. They need some help. They gotta go out and get some guys.
I think I would be interested in trying to see what the price would be for Josh Hayder in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
he's a big lefty. He's got a power slider. He throws hard. I think he's a good option. So if we could package something for him, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But
there was a rumor, wasn't it? I think there was a rumor last year that the Yankees were trying to get him at the deadline, maybe, or something. But he's still performing really well. Obviously AL East is a question mark for anybody coming from the NL. But he seems to be like he could do really well. I would like that.
Yeah. I want to go to the outfield real quick. Because obviously Aaron Judge has proven himself that he was outstanding last season. He was, one of the only consistent guys who both stayed healthy and produced from day one to day 162. Stanton, even, I got to give him credit. He had a good year. He's healthy relatively, and he produced. But you're getting, there's still some holes there. Center field, left field. What do you think we're doing there? Clint Frazier's gone. What do you think so who is even the outfield right now between Judge and right? I guess we're going Hicks back in center, and then who's in left field? I don't even know.
Gallo. Well,
Gallo. That's right. Gallo's still here.
Last year, Gallo winning the Gold Glove last year for right field, which is really funny because of Judge being there and Judge getting robbed. I think he should have won a Gold Glove last year. That's really ridiculous. But some people talk about putting Gallo in center field because he's a really athletic guy. I wouldn't mind that. Some people talk about Judge being in center field. Although, who knows? Maybe that's a little too much for him because of the whole. I laugh about a few years ago when they had that whole big guys in cleats standing around, and they talked about Judge and Stanton, how what, you can't do that. So maybe that's a little too much wear and tear on him being in center field. But I would love to see Gallo over there. Judge in right, Gallo. Stanton proved that he was serviceable in left field. So put him out there for a little bit. Hicks, I think Hicks has great potential, but I don't think he's going to put together a full season. I'd be shocked if he does with all his injuries. He can be really, really great player, but hasn't put it together. And then there's a talk of that Japanese player, which I won't even try to pronounce his name because I don't even know. Begins with an S. Talk of Yankees getting him, which I really have no idea about him, but he's supposedly a good player. I'm guessing this year we're not going to see Brett Gardner back. I love Brett Gardner, love what he's done, but it's for him to each year come on.
Hold on, I lost you. One sec.
We love Guardian and what he's done, but I think his time has come to an end. But I don't know who's in the minors. There's got to be some outfielders in there. I know Jason Dominguez is he's only 17 now, so he needs some more time. But you'd think that the Yankees would have somebody in the outfield to come up and at least be a utility guy. If that order of Stanton, Gallo, and Judge can stay healthy and be their outfield, and like I said, maybe platoon Stanton as DH and left fielder, but you got to get another guy in there. That's a good outfield. If those guys stay healthy, that's a great outfield. You think that Joey Gallo is going to perform better than what he did when he came to the Yankees. Definitely disappointing in some really big spots, especially in the playoffs. I don't, did he bat fourth in the playoffs? That was, I think, a really big mistake. After what he was doing, I would have put him seventh, where there's no pressure. But yeah, outfield on paper looks really good, but you need some backups.
Yeah, you make a good point with Hicks. He's talented. There's a lot of talent there. He's a switch hitting bat with power and decent contact skills, but he can't stay healthy enough to be a number one option in center field. I think we have to move. I would move him to the bench. I think he's a good player off the bench.
Yeah.
There's also the kid in the minors, Florial. Florial's a center fielder in the minors. Yeah. So maybe he gets a bigger shot now. He's also a lefty. He kind of reminds me of like a Granderson type, a little more athletic, but like lefty pop, strikes out a lot, but he'll give you production in the outfield.
Yeah. I liked him when he came up. There was a lot of he started off as like one of those really high prospects. And then from what I read, people started getting a little bit down on him. But when he came up with with the big club, he performed pretty well. I was like, wow, this is pretty solid. Could see him being a contributor. Maybe he grows into and gets better to be a starter in a year or two, who knows? But yeah, he could be definitely one of the backup outfielders and get, maybe not backup, but get some more playing time. Maybe you slot him into center with Gallo and they switch back and forth. Gallo goes back to left sometimes, and when Stanton's in the in left field, you switch Gallo over to center. Maybe something like that works for them.
Yeah, I think so. Do you think LeMahieu has a bounce back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
DJ's going to have a really big bounce back year. I joked to you about this was the first year that he had a newborn. His wife had a baby in the off season. So, I know I was kidding around saying, DJ comes home from the game and the wife's there going, here, you're up tonight with the baby. But between that, because that is an adjustment, I gotta say, newborn baby in the household, I'm sure he's got nannies and all that, but it's still an adjustment. And the other thing is, who knows if he was hurt, that sports hernia that he had, what if that was really something plaguing him? And he's the type of guy who I feel is like Derek Jeter, where he's not coming out of the lineup. He's not saying, oh, I've got I stubbed my pinky. I can't play today. He's going to be out there no matter what, I think. And I think he was playing with that a lot longer than anybody knew. So I think DJ has a bounce back year. I love DJ. So I'm really rooting for him. And I hope he comes back really strong, because I know a lot of people were down on him going, he signs this big contract and now he's terrible, and meanwhile, he hovered at 270. He
wasn't terrible
before, but not horrible. So I think DJ's back in 2022.
How about Torres or Sanchez? Do you think either of them can do something this year?
I think what Gary can do is bring the Gatorade from the clubhouse to the dugout. I think that's something he can contribute. But seriously, I have been down on Sanchez for a long time now. I've been calling it the Gary Sanchez experiment for at least 2 years and have said that needs to end. I know people throw the statistics together that he's a much better hitter than, so much of the large percentages of the league, but, the defense is horrible. You need a good defensive catcher. The offense, he had that really big month in May of last year, maybe. And I feel like that's where he got all these supposedly good statistics that people want to point to last year. He had a monster early part of the season. It's when that article came out where they said where he said, "Oh, I was really sad that the fans were booing me. I really need their support and all that." And it's like, that was it. That was like a little blip of his season where he did really well. He had a couple of maybe, big home runs for them, but that's where those stats came from, in my opinion. I would love someone to break it down and really see, but all those costly errors that he had, and you look at, you can't really look at a whole season and be like, I do, but you shouldn't say, oh, if they only won that one game, they would have had the wild card at Yankee Stadium. And who knows if that even makes a difference. I think it'll make a little bit of a difference, but think of all the games Gary Sanchez lost for them because of his defense. You got to get rid of him. I wish they would have released him, but I understand that he does have some value in the league. I hope that they're going to trade him for somebody, something, if all these other teams look at the statistics and say, all right, he's an above average offensive catcher and maybe we can fix his defense. Great, trade him, get him out of here. I don't know. I know Higashioka is not a full-time starter, but if it was him and someone else, maybe I could wrap my head around that. Gleyber, it's really sad to see how much Gleyber regressed from 2 years ago. And, if you want to give 2020 season as, a mulligan, let's say, for him, he still regressed last year. And maybe it was the transferring over to shortstop and not used to it, but I don't know. I think there's only so much you can say with that, where his offense struggled. I think, he's still pretty young, so I think you keep him and you keep him as a utility player and you get him in there a couple of games a week. But I see him as a bench player right now. Who knows? Maybe he can find his swing and perform better. But disappointment's on both. Obviously I'm rooting for both of those guys, but I don't have high expectations.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, man. Especially with Gary, you'll hear a lot of these people talk about his statistics, but you're right. One really good stretch can kind of pad the rest of your numbers and make it look a lot better than it is. It inflates everything else. And he's that kind of hitter. But he'll have a good stretch for a week or so. Yeah. And then he'll go back for the next 2 weeks and hit under 200. And then he'll have another good stretch, but it's just not consistent. And then when you take into account that with his defense, which is below average, it's hard to really support him. I think he's you're right. Like, he's got a lot of power, and compared to a lot of other catchers, he's a powerful hitter. But I think when you put him on the Yankees and notice the flaws we have, it's just one too many of those kind of hitters. If he was in another situation, I feel like he'd be more productive towards winning. But putting him on the Yankees, where we already have a lot of those strikeout prone swing and miss guys, it's different. And maybe it'll help if we can, because the DH is now in the National League, so that maybe opens up some more opportunities to trade him. But I don't know with him. And as for Torres, I still think there's talent there. We saw it not too long ago in his rookie year and his sophomore season, but I think he's kind of falling in the same trap where he's just trying to hit too much home runs. I don't even think he expected to hit 38 a couple of years ago. And that kind of got to his head a bit. And then his defense, obviously he's in his head a lot. So it's confusing with those two, but I'm kind of done with Gary. Torres, there might be something left there.
Yeah. And, I think Gleyber hit half those home runs off the Orioles too that year when he used to destroy them. And, if the Yankees had, if they didn't have Stanton or fully stocked the DH, maybe Gary Sanchez becomes their DH. But like you said, with the National League going to get it, it is a good, maybe that's all he has to do. Maybe catching is too much for him to think about, and he just needs to focus on hitting. And that would really open up some opportunities for some trades for the Yankees.
Yeah, we'll see. Before we go, one last thing. I want to get your take on Aaron Boone extended for 3 more years, I think it was. But here's the thing to me, because so they fire everybody else, and we may have talked about this through text before, but they fire everybody else around him, and their reasoning was they want to bring in other assistant coaches who can help Boone motivate the players. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, you know, if you need other guys to come in to help the manager manage, isn't that kind of a bad thing for the manager?
Yeah, isn't that the job? Doesn't that fall under the job specifications? But yeah, it's like we had spoken about. You look at each year, and he got worse as it went on, and he didn't even. There were points where he didn't even have that fire of like the savages in the box whole thing that he had, and that at least was awesome. I loved it. It showed some spirit. And last year, I think it was last year, I know I have talked about this a lot. There was one game where there's a bad call, and Phil Nevin came out and was yelling with the umpires, and Boone didn't even do anything. And Judge came out in the press, when he was interviewed and asked, and he goes, "Oh yeah, you love it when a guy has your back and comes out and does that." And I thought that was one of the, backhanded things against Boone, saying something like that, but not saying it fully, that you're unhappy with Boone, that he didn't go out there and do that. And, it's kind of shocking. That is the manager's part to do. Like, you got to go out there and get yourself thrown out. I was shocked by that. Between that and, just his, I don't know, it seems like just a complete, I don't know, even his regression. I think he's had a regression through the years. And then you turn around and you say, all right, well, we're gonna take you back. You're getting worse as you go on. You're failing at your job, but you know what? We're gonna give you another shot and give you 4 years, right? It's 4 years, right? Or is it 3?
3 years with a 4-year option.
Yeah, it's real not great. I did not like it. I think Aaron Boone is a really nice guy. He might know baseball really well, but he is challenged at the managing position. And like you said, to bring in guys to motivate people, like I want a manager who's going to be the motivator. I don't want a manager who is just going to sit back and just be blasé and not be in there talking to these guys. And, you don't have to be a hard ass and go in there and yell and, start throwing bats around, but, take more leadership. He's not a leader, in my opinion. And, obviously he's another guy, I bash all these guys. I'm still rooting for them. Obviously I want to see a championship, but just disappointing. And, we talked about Buck Showalter, and originally I was like, Buck Showalter, he probably doesn't want to do the managing grind. He's got like a nice gig with the Yes Network. And then all of a sudden he's with the Mets, and it's like, wow, he did want to go back to managing. And I think that was a missed opportunity by the Yankees. Some people are up and down on his managing, but I feel like when he goes to a team, he gets results really fast. Maybe the players over time with Showalter, start to, as they say, the message gets lost on them from him. But I think he could have really turned things around to make them a better team. Not turn around, because they still did make the playoffs, even though they limped into it. But I think, talk about a motivator. I think he would have been a great motivator. Or even bench coach. Throw him a boatload of money to just sit next to Boone and say, okay, let's do this, let's do that. You look at the great Yankee years of Joe Torre having Don Zimmer next to him. There's 2 guys with a lot of managing experience. Put Buck Showalter in there and to help him out. But obviously that ship has passed, and we'll get to see what Showalter does with the Mets. But yeah, disappointed. Definitely disappointed that Aaron Boone is back. But who knows? Maybe he'll surprise us.
Yeah, it's kind of like, getting 3 or 4 other coaches in here, but keeping him. It's like patchwork, like what they do with the rotation. It's literally patchwork with managing and everything. And that's what that's how they build their roster. It's all patchwork, it feels like. But we'll see. I don't know the rules for the lockout. Like, is Cashman allowed to keep in contact with other GMs and like set things up for when it ends? I don't know the rules, but
yeah, that's a good question. I suppose I would imagine he is allowed to do that, because
like, how do you monitor texting and stuff?
Yeah, I think that's legal, because it's basically at this point ownerships versus the players in this situation. So those two can't go and talk to each other. But I would imagine he is staying active in that, and that it's legal.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll see.
All right. Yes.
Prediction for where we're gonna land on the standings this year.
Oh, all right. Let's see. Predictions. Yankees will be the first wild card this year, is what I'm going to say. And that's a little bit, I want to say second again, because I'm not so big on where the whole lineup and rotation stands right now. But I am going to have faith in them that they are going to make some moves and make this a better team than where they are right now. And it's going to be another AL East battle. But I think I'm going to say they make the first wild card spot and they win the game and they go into the second round. And from there, who knows what happens.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because the days of like expecting us to just walk the East are kind of over, because you look at Toronto, they've got a lot of young talent. Boston, they're still relevant. And then Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay. So yeah, I think you're about right. But thanks, man, for coming on. I appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, anytime, Rob. Always great to talk to you.
All right, dude. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that episode. Again, episode 302, that was, with Greg from Yankee Crazy Podcast and I, just talking about the Yankee offseason and what's to come and all that fun stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like if you're on YouTube, or you can share this podcast and download it if you're on any of the listening platforms and all the rest of that stuff. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you all stopping by. Episode 302 of BD4. No better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. It's in the books. So that's it. I'll see you in 303, which should be out Monday, Tuesday the latest, when we're back talking Knicks. And we will most likely have a guest or two on the show for that episode as well. We'll probably talk some MMA with a couple of my buddies. So look forward to that. But 302 in the books. Hope you enjoyed the conversation that Greg and I had. And again, go check out Yankee Crazy Podcast. It's a great show if you haven't yet. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. And that's all we've got. All right. Ciao. This podcast is brought to you by Anchor. It's the best way to make a podcast. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm.